When is the right time to release your new product or service? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
Serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers.
Let's go.
This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it out.
What is up? What is up? What is up, my dark horse friends and family? Welcome back to your weekly dose of quality conscious learning. I'm your dark horse host, Tracy Brinkman. And you? Well, that, my friend, is infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur or a business owner, or perhaps you're one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And that is why I am here bringing you these amazing guests I'm lucky enough to bring on to help deliver the value that is on this podcast. And hopefully you benefit from these guests and maybe a few of the thoughts I interject as well. And if you are getting that value, and that means you don't want to miss a single episode. And to be able to not miss a single episode, what you're going to need to do is go on down there, hit that subscribe button. You'll find it way down there at the bottom. And then while you're there, hey, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating. Yeah, leave us some kind words in the reviews. Ask questions. I read every single one of these ratings, well, every single one of the reviews anyway. And here's the thing. It is those subscribes, ratings, and reviews that are your way of telling all those podcast platforms out there that you are getting the value so that they can lift us up a little bit in the rankings so that we can reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So please take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. All right, so today we have another big episode. Man, we got another big guest here. Today, Todd Gross is going to be sharing his unique path of going from scientist into the internet marketing space. He's going to be dropping tips like being ahead of your time, the benefits of staying in your lane, why you should promote cautiously, that and so much more. Plus, I want to let you in on a little secret about next week's interview guest, who is a former business executive and consultant who's doing so much for us in the state assembly. So much so that he's gotten a phone call. I was there when he got the phone call from the legal team of President Donald J. Trump, and they want to help him out. Ha ha! Woo! So as per usual, the Dark Horse Corrals are chock full of personal, business, and marketing. GOLD spilling from every corner of the Dark Horse Entrepreneur HQ. Let's get to the starting gates and go. Alrighty, my Dark Horse friends and family. Today's guest is none other than the man himself, Todd Gross. Now, Todd's first career was in television as a meteorologist. It started back in the 80s, and he rose in that career for over 30 years. And if we flash forward to 2006, when he shifts into the internet and video marketing space, Todd helped establish the Video Squeeze page. Yeah. And he continued to further online marketing, to further online video marketing, making the technology by partnering and promoting with cutting edge releases since that time. Now, if you've been active in online marketing, especially video marketing in the past couple of decades, odds are you've used or have seen one or more of the products that Todd has either partnered with, produced, or promoted. All right. Todd, what a journey you have been on. I just want to make sure to say, welcome to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur.
Oh, thanks. This is my pleasure. I appreciate it.
And now I know I have been following you for some time, and obviously we alluded to a bit of that in the intro, but I want to step back from the mic for a moment and let you tell your story, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs, rights, lefts, as little as much as you'd like to share. And then we'll just see where it takes us.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. So yeah, I do have an unusual backstory in that I came out of this all from television. I started as a scientist, which is funny. I did a full circle. I started as a meteorologist And I wanted to bring my weather forecasting onto television, and I wanted to do it right as a real meteorologist back at a time where it was split half and half. There were real meteorologists and there were weather people, often weather girls. And I wanted to take that scientific route and convince everybody that I was going to give them the better story, and sure enough, I did end up getting in just barely early enough to become, a very well watched television meteorologist in several markets, mostly Boston, where I eventually became a chief meteorologist at Channel 7 at the time in Boston, which was the NBC at the time. And then around 2005, I started to branch out of television and I needed something to do. So what happened was I did go to Springfield, Mass TV, and I did end up going to Salt Lake City television. I did end up doing CNBC television, but part-time for the most part. What I was doing full-time when I transitioned out of TV was I said, I'm going to try to bring weather onto the internet. I had this like harebrained scheme that I was going to be able to become popular on the internet. I was ahead of my time, to be quite frank. I could have done it if it was 5 or 10 years later and the whole social media thing had exploded. But instead, even though I was getting good traffic, I wasn't making a whole lot of money. But here's the funny part. When I tried to do that, I got bombarded by internet marketers who were saying you can make money with AdSense, you can make money with this, you can make money with that. And here's the catch. I saw that they weren't using any video. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Video is becoming a possibility now. This was around 2006. I said, why aren't they using video? So I started helping other marketers out who then teamed with me. We started putting video products together. One particular marketer, Derek Van Dyke, I became very close with, and we launched something called Squeeze Videos, which was actually one of the first attempts at video squeeze pages. And from there, over the course of time, although I've deviated here and there, for the most part, I've been involved with cutting edge releases when it deals with mostly video or something graphical. Often also local marketing, because I saw that need around 2008 or so when, every business under the moon started needing a web page. But more or less over time, I've been fairly steady in not only coming out with products by teaming with other, developers and marketers that are, cutting edge new video products, but in addition to finding those that were promote worthy and really getting out there and promoting those same products. Now, I have deviated here and there quite a bit, but that's been the central focus of what I've done over the years. And of course, the big news to all this is that I ended up, practically ditching the scientist and becoming the on-air guy. I've been the spokesperson for these various products very often, and especially when they're my own. And therefore, I, reach out with these videos, this video interrelationship that I've had with people over the many years that I've done this since 2006. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I haven't deviated too much. I'm a top affiliate. I'm one of JV Zoo's #1 affiliates because I've, been very selective in what I've ended up promoting. But I have to say, I have a team behind me. It's kind of a ragtag team. It reminds me of the, in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Island of Misfit Toys, but they come together and they're really in charge. It's kind of like that. And we do really well as a team. And I'm very proud of them. They're the ones that kind of prop me up.
Nice. Well, and it's always good to give the shout out to those folks that are, the magicians behind the curtain. If we want to go back to our, oh gosh, what was the name of that show? Dorothy and
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Well, I just drew a blank right there. Wow, that was a brain moment. Anyway, that's a super cool story, and I know I've known it. Following you seems like forever now. I'm dating myself as well as you, but I know I've seen a number of the products. And here's the cool thing about I think you being so selective is the fact that when I see your name associated with either a product that you are a part of the production team, or you're just promoting it, I stop and pay attention, because I've seen everyone, well, not everyone, all the ones you've picked have been quality products, and it's obviously from you paying attention to the quality of what it is you take the time to put your name to.
Yeah, well, my partner Luann, business partner, she basically will not let anything go that we develop. She won't let anything out there that isn't really high quality, because she doesn't want to hear it from the public. She's very, very big on customer support. So if she has any inkling that she's going to be put to too much work because of the product not being up to par, she gets really very, very persnickety about that. And our other folks too, my other business partner, Dinesh, is like that too. He's so basic, and Shannon is like that, our other business partner. So basically, the whole team does not like to deal with customer support when they don't have to, because they want the support that they give to be to something that they really can support, because
Right.
the product is good.
100%. Yeah, you definitely want to go for the quality. And I think over the long haul, you end up making more, and not just in the money, but in the authority space. It's like every time I see Todd Gross, I know there's going to be a good product behind it. Whether it's a $7 product or a $700 product, I feel the same way about it. So that's obviously has paid off.
Well, it is a little difficult. I mean, one of the things, you may remember Mike Vilsain put out that manual, Butterfly Marketing, around 2006.
Yes, I remember.
Remember that?
Yeah.
One of the lessons in there that I did learn is you can do that, but you have to be careful not to let it hang you up forever, because then you just won't come out with the product at all, ever. So you have to, weigh that, the pros and cons of that. You can't wait forever to get something out in the market, to get every little bug out. You have to, at one point or another, make that decision to just get it out there and work on it from that point on. That's a tough one, because I hate doing that. But if no one's going to be using it because you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, then you're defeating the purpose.
Yeah, that's that fine line that I think entrepreneurs have to walk. Is like, is it ready enough versus, oh no, we can't put it out yet because it's not perfect.
Yeah, and that's a universal problem too. I mean, if you think of Microsoft and Apple and their stuff, they do the same thing. They sometimes release stuff before it's 100% ready.
100%. Now, I know one of the things that you have, I'm not sure if you were part of the promotion team or the developer, and I think it was called Humitars, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm saying
that's HSS, Human Synthesis Studio, one of the developers on that. Basically, our job on that one was to work with the person who developed it, and then make sure that the characters themselves were up to par and doing things they're supposed to. What's interesting about that, Human Synthesis Studio, which produces the Humitars, is that it actually takes real human actors. I mean, they're real, and they actually stepped in front of a microphone. And you can actually make them say what you want them to say by typing that in on the keyboard. Now, that sounds almost impossible, but what happens is AI has become so sophisticated that it's able to look over 100,000 YouTube videos and understand mouth movements. So these actors, including myself, I was one of them, would sit in front of the camera, stand in front of the camera with gestures for a long time, and then their mouth movements would be recreated.
You're now listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Depending on what you type into the keyboard, so you can make them actually say things just by typing. Now, the interesting part about that is they are then matched with other actors who did the voice work. And these are also real human actors and synthesized voices. So you can use either your own voice, you can import a voice, you can do text to speech on, synthesized voices like Google and Amazon voices, or you can use the real human actor voices, which are also repackaged. Now, I sat in front of a microphone for, I'm trying to think how long it was. I think it was it was 10,000 something, 10,000 words, I think it was. No, it was more than that. It was like 10,000 minutes. It was just an incredible amount of time. And my final voice still is not done. I mean, that was a few months ago. I'm still waiting for the results. Wow. I did a shorter version that did come out, and I'd like to see it get even better. So I'm waiting for the final version, and we'll see how good that is. But it takes a long time, especially the voice part, to get that so that you can make it into text to speech, from the actor to the text to speech.
Yeah, given our age bracket, it is crazy to think how far technology has come, and heck, just in the past decade, to be able to take from cartoon characters. And you remember the what was it, the paper clip that used to dance around in the corner of your screen, and now we have human digitized characters with humanized voices just reacting to your text. That's insane.
Well, I'll tell you the trick on that, and the thing that's so scary about it in terms of utilizing it, is you have to be careful, because the closer you get to human from animated characters, the less people are going to respond to it in a positive way until it reaches the point of really looking human. As it gets more and more human-like, there's an actual name for this. It's like black hole effect or something, because when they actually tested people, there was this amazing dip in their responsiveness as the characters became more and more human-like, until they really were human. And then it just shot right back up. But you have to be really careful. It just strikes everyone as creepy when you get towards human, but you're not quite there. It's either animated or human, but there's really no in between. So that's something that we have to fight with, because even our real humans look a little stiff as they're recording. Like mine is a little bit on the stiff side. And we constantly are improving the natural motions, the natural flow of the human beings in Human Synthesis Studios, so that they appear to be true humans, which they are, but even they can look a little stiff, So we got to be careful about that.
That's so cool, though. So with all this cool stuff, and I know you have your finger, or you're at least on the inside looking out from the developing standpoint, is there something cool behind the scenes that, like, wow, as soon as we're able to do this, people are going to go, their eyes are just going to pop out of their skulls?
Yeah, I keep trying to predict things. I keep predicting interactivity, and it keeps taking different manifestations. So I'm waiting for the ultimate interaction between humans and the on the screen and the people at home. And I think that's when everyone's eyes are going to pop out, when there's really some sort of better interaction between the video person and the person that is watching. So I think that's the main word that I'm waiting for to see the latest, is interaction, rather than just one-sided, not just hitting you one way, but actually being able to interact even better with, what's on the screen.
Yeah, no doubt at all. So I want to be mindful of your time, and I know you're a busy guy with 137,000 things to do, but I want from your perspective, and you've gone from I have nothing to do with entrepreneurship to obviously leveling up to places that I would aspire to. What top tip would you leave for our burgeoning entrepreneurs out there?
Okay, so the thing I always did from the beginning is two things. Number one, I gave away my services for free to those that I was trying to attract. And in fact, that's how my team was built as well. People came to me, gave away their services for free, and that's how we then connected. And eventually we did profit sharing after that. So it's always to try to connect with someone else. Don't try to do stuff on your own. Decide what your goals are, then look somehow, some way. I don't know if Warrior Forum still exists. That's one of the ways I used to connect with people.
It does, actually.
That's good to know. So look for people that are like-minded, that may be just a little bit above where you are, and offer to help them do whatever their goal is on a project that's similar to what you're interested in, and do it, and just do it for free, and then establish that rapport, that collaboration. And that's basically how my team was built and how I originally got in the first place. And it's always a good, business practice in my estimation. In fact, I was listening to what's the Napoleon Hill book all the way back from the 1930s.
Oh my goodness! Make friends and influence people.
No, it's the really famous one. It's just skipping my mind for just a second, but I'll tell you this:
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. He even mentioned that in that book when I was listening to it recently. I'd never really listened to the whole book, and there were all kinds of things in there that we do, such as mastermind. The idea of having a mastermind group was in that book, and that book was written in the freaking 30s. I mean, World War II hadn't even occurred yet, and he was referring to masterminding. So that's another, of course, vital thing to do, is to collaborate with others, and that's been going on forever. But he mentioned also those that really put it in their mind. I mean, really had that power of positive thinking to, work for somebody else and not even charge them, or, work at a lower role, but make sure that you are always bringing your best and bringing your ideas, and then, getting to that next role that you're really searching for. That was, right there in that book. And I thought that was interesting, that is something that I naturally learned without even reading that book. And then when I read it recently, I was just like blown away by all that stuff that goes so far back.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I remember hearing some of those. What's funny about, you mentioned masterminds. I was reading the biography of Benjamin Franklin, and he created a mastermind way back when he was a big muckety muck. And some of the things one of the things that came out of his mastermind was Philadelphia's first fire department.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's really dating back.
Yeah, right. All right. Yeah. Well, Todd, I definitely appreciate you coming on and hanging out for a bit. If anyone wants to learn more about Todd Gross, the things he has on the horizon, things he's got in the hopper right now, where do we want to send them to?
Everybody has a link all the time that's ready. It just, one of the best places is on my Facebook. It's Todd Gross Video Marketing Expert. So it's facebook.com/Todd Gross Video Marketing Expert.
I will make sure that link is in the show notes so people can click right over there and start checking you out, Todd. Again, man, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight.
Thanks a lot for doing this.
All right, there you have it, my Dark Horse friends and family. Todd Gross dropping video and internet marketing bombs on us. What resonated with you? Well, let me give you a couple of things, actually 4 things here that kind of clicked with me. Thought number 1, be ahead of your time. Todd shared his awesome and unique story from scientists and meteorologists to his desire to take the weather onto the internet long before anyone else was trying to do this, which he was able to do, if you remember right, but he was not able to convert that into a good revenue stream. Now, mind you, this was back in the early days and long before social media had even hit the stage. But during this adventure, he noticed something, that folks in the internet marketing space were not using video, something he was really good at, and he leveraged that as his expertise and as his foot in the door to create a revenue stream. The migration from known to unknown is kind of a natural part of things in your entrepreneurial journey, right? You go from what you know into something you don't know and then apply what you do know, right? So I guess the question I would have you for in this is, can you prepare from that known to the unknown part of your journey? And if so, how? Well, I'm going to dive a bit more into the fact that yes, you can, and get into some of the hows in episode 276, ways to prepare yourself for your entrepreneurial journey. Thought number 2, stay in your lane. Todd is known for his expertise in his products that focus on his niche, which is video, right? And some, quite often, graphical content. Now, as you hear, Todd stated that for the most part, that is his lane, and he stayed in it. Now, he's veered off time and again for those quality products that have entered into his sphere of influence. But overall, his staying in his lane has resulted in his becoming an authority in that niche, right? People come to him for his expertise, his input, and his partnership. I think that him staying in that lane has probably resulted in more business coming his way than if he was trying to do like so many others and become a jack of all trades. Become an expert in your lane, an authority in your niche. Now, I want to share some thoughts and insights on this in episode 277, Ways to Be an Authority in Your Niche. Thought number 3, this is a big one, promote cautiously. Todd mentioned this one kind of in passing and then went back and kind of addressed it, so I wanted to make sure it got the attention it deserved. Todd, for the most part, focuses in video in the graphics arena. Now, while he does and has strayed outside this arena, as I mentioned before, he always makes sure that whatever it is he is promoting, be it his own product or otherwise, it's top-notch and worthy of being promoted to his list and attaching his name to. Now, think about it for a second. How many times have you taken the word or suggestion of someone that you trusted on a product or a service only to be disappointed by its performance? Yeah, raise your hand. I get it. Nod your head. Was your trusted source disappointed too? That's a key question. Because if they weren't, I would suggest perhaps that they should no longer be a trusted source for such information, as they might just be in it for the money only. Now, if however, they were sincerely disappointed and apologetic, then you both have learned a lesson and can move forward with this new knowledge under your belt to promote cautiously to the betterment of not just yourself and your list, but your reputation as well. Yeah. And thought number 4, be quality conscious and time wise. Todd reminds us that the quality of your product or the product you associate yourself with does in fact need to meet the standards of quality that you expect it to, that your team expects it to, right? That your list, your prospects and your customers expect it to. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself spending far more time on the back end, rendering customer service and perhaps even returning hard-earned revenue to those very customers. All that is going to result in a huge bit of damage to your reputation, and as we mentioned, to your livelihood, right? Yeah. However, you do need to balance this with being time-wise. Because, let me be honest here, I'm not sure if any product is ever perfect at the time of its release. But if you can get it to your standards and prep your prospects with the gaps that you know are there, and then tell them about the planned and upcoming updates and upgrades, most often they will understand. And those that do not, well, I don't think they would have been buying your product in the first place. Because if you're being completely transparent and honest and upfront from the onset and they still doubt you, perhaps they're not really a part of the tribe that you are here to serve. All right. So, man, there's so many lessons and tips in this episode and so many of the other episodes. What cool ideas, inspirational ideas, tips, or titillating thoughts resonated with you today? Whatever they were, take some time as soon as possible, like right now maybe, and write them down because you will forget them, right? And what episode was it I heard that on? I don't know. Write them down and then get out there, run your race, get your results, and let me hear about them. That's right. Email me at tracy@darkhorseschooling.com. Share the tips or ideas that you came away with, how you put them into action, and what results you gained from them. Heck, probably even bring you on the show and let you share your story with my audience. Speaking of sharing stories, man, our next week's interview episode guest is going to be Timothy Ransom. Yeah, the gentleman that publishes the Ransom Report. Now, Timothy is a former business executive, management consultant, vice president, and directorship roles for multiple Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies, most of which that specialize in manufacturing, technology, finance, education, supply chain service, as well as delivery and call center operations. This man has probably seen it all and continues to this day to render his service to his constituents fearlessly. You're not going to want to miss this episode. This guy's going to be dropping bombs on us. So be sure you come in and check that out. Now, I know you want to keep getting all these valuable tips, inspirational stories from this podcast and the guests I'm lucky enough to bring on. So please, like I mentioned earlier, go on down there, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, leave us a 5-star rating. Write us a quick review. Hey, here's what I liked about it. Here's what sucks. Ask a question. Again, I read every single one of those reviews. And of course, and ultimately, do not keep all this entrepreneurial GOLD all to yourself. Share this podcast with other entrepreneurs and business owners that you know will get value from it. And with that, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.